Well, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Well, I am absolutely honored to be with you today, and I'm here today to represent over 7,000 women and men who power the electricity system in British Columbia every day. Very, very honored to say that we serve over 5 million British Columbians, and we are at the front and center of many of the sustainability efforts that we are talking about today at the series. So I spoke with Million over the phone several weeks ago and was inspired by her passion for making change in the world, and I knew right away that she's doing something special for us, as are all of you by taking part. We all know the impacts of climate change can no longer be ignored, and it is real and it is time to act. Here in BC, we are experiencing more extreme weather, more intense storms, alternating periods of drought and floods, more forest fires, more damage to our forests, rivers, biodiversity than we rely on for our lives. All of this underlines the importance of switching from fossil fuels to cleaner, renewable forms of power. So how many of you know intimately how British Columbia's electricity system works? Oh, there's potentially 2 or 3 folks in the audience. So we are a bit known. We've been actually in operation for about 100 years as an industry. And we've tended to operate very much behind the scenes. And one of the really amazing things here in British Columbia is the fact that the electricity that flows through our grid every day is powered by approximately 98% clean renewable, primarily from water. What we don't easily talk about here in British Columbia is the fact that the total energy footprint for our province, over 70% of that total energy footprint is actually from fossil fuels. So we have a huge opportunity in British Columbia, you're going to hear this term, electrification. So as we are looking to advance climate change, take action, do the right thing, transition our economy to a clean economy, what we're really talking about is starting to make more and more conscious decisions around stepping away from fossil fuels and moving on to cleaner, renewable forms of energy. So that means it's for industries, it's for businesses, it's for homes. For us here in the room, that means it's using and consciously making the choice to use electricity to heat our homes, to cook our meals, and to power our vehicles. There is an amazing base of clean renewable energy that we can start from here in British Columbia, but we have even more opportunity than I think we've given ourselves credit for many decades. In addition to having an amazing body of water that creates clean renewable power, we also have an amazing display of solar power in our province. We also have wind power in our province, and there's a lot of other technologies that are coming up as well. So one of the commitments that UBC Hydro has made is to increasingly step into new and different forms of how we start to generate the electricity we're going to need as people start to make the decision to move away from fossil fuels and power their lives differently. And we're not the only jurisdiction that's looking at this. The interest in electrification and decarbonization has ramped up all over the world. Just recently, BC Hydro actually published its first sustainability or ESG report, and we have adopted the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as our mantra and our sort of reason for action and how we're committing to taking a different approach with some of our operations going forward. One of the other concepts you're going to hear is this idea of an energy transition. So going back to that idea that 70% of our total energy footprint in our province alone is based on fossil fuels, taking that transition and starting to move as a society into other forms of energy and electricity starts to require a series of decisions. And I'm really proud of the fact here in British Columbia we have such a progressive, forward-thinking government that is putting in place so many great policies, ideas, concepts, and forums, so we're able to start this transition together, and we're also doing it in a responsible way where folks aren't left behind. Most of us in this room have actually never experienced the type of transformation we're going to see over the next couple of decades as we consciously move into different ways of living and different ways of powering our lives. When I first started in the electricity industry, I too was once a student. I was a liberal arts student. I used to make fun of the business students, and I made fun of the engineers, and now I work with them every day. But I had this amazing professor who said to me, if you want to make true and lasting change in the world, don't stand outside that building and yell at the corporation. Walk in the front door, grab an application, sign up, start working in that organization, and make change from within. And I would give that advice to every single person out there today. I am definitely a living example of having made the choice to go into the corporate environment in order to make the type of change that I believe in. And the wonderful thing about BC Hydro is there's a lot of folks there who believe in the same thing. So electrification offers us the opportunities to significantly reduce emissions. That's something I've mentioned because we're largely powered by water. It's something that we're able to offer as a service to other organizations who may not have the same type of clean energy footprint already that we do. One of the things I would encourage a lot of the folks who are participating here, and I was particularly struck earlier on when we talked about the conscious choice to step away from the use of plastics. One of the lesser known powers that we have is the power of consumerism. And it can be a very damaging thing, but it can also be a very powerful thing because your purchasing choices make a significant difference. So by choosing an electric vehicle, by choosing a heat pump, by choosing different forms of energy use within your home, choosing different services and products, you are actually using your voice in the same way you use your voice when you vote, when you demonstrate, when you participate in social causes. Using consumerism as a means to have your voice heard is a really important thing to be thinking about for all generations, but it's one of the biggest opportunities we have going forward. So one of the things we're starting to do more and more at BC Hydro is we're thinking like our customers, and we're thinking about different services and products that we can offer to help our customers make much more effective choices for their personal energy use. We have a series of incentives, we have a series of programs, we have a series of things that allow people to reduce their energy footprint. And what you're going to see from us over the next couple of years is a little bit more of a progressive suite of services because we know people's energy interests and their choices are changing and we want to be able to keep up with that. So once I get started talking about electricity, I tend to stop. I'm a big believer in the cause, but one of the things I'm incredibly honored by today is the fact that there are just so many people willing to give up their time and their thought and their contributions to thinking consciously about how we live together as a society. And one of the wonderful things about British Columbia is it's actually owned by the citizens of BC. So we're your friends, we're your family, we're your neighbors, and we have an opportunity here to collectively move forward in ways that doesn't easily happen in some of the other parts of our country and some of the other parts of our continent. So I would encourage all of you, much like you're doing today, keep getting involved, think about the choices that you make, the causes that you're supporting, the purchases that you're thinking about, and also hold us to account. One of the lesser known parts of BC Hydro is we are incredibly transparent, and there's actually a number of processes that you can get involved in that actually have a say on how we run our business. We're regulated by an independent regulator where anyone can walk in, sign up, and actually take part in some of the proceedings that decide on the ways in which BC Hydro runs its business. So we are incredibly accountable to our owners, the citizens of British Columbia, and we're very, very cognizant of the responsibility that we have to support the transition ahead. I'll keep going unless somebody has
Thank you so much, Senior Vice-President Stephenson. I really love how you talked about powering our lives differently and having the power to choose as consumers and how we move about this planet.